Phins? It's your boy Dillon, and I'm back again today. Let's see. Today is, I don't know. I think it's like, I kind of lost track. I think it's like day 10 or something like that of training camp. I don't know. All I know is that on Thursday, in a few days from now, because obviously today is Monday, so on Thursday we have our first preseason game, which I am super excited about. And so I have more information for you, obviously. That's why I'm doing this video. So I have some articles, some highlights, and some stuff from today's practice. So let's get right to it. First article I have for you is Dolphins Wire, from Dolphins Wire. And let's see. Dolphins quarterback Ryan Tannehill expects to play in preseason opener against Buccaneers. Great. So we will get to see, Tannehill and probably that whole first team offense, first team defense. I would expect to see them for at least a series or two. That's typically how it goes in my experience. Anyway, so let's see. The Dolphins will play their first preseason game against the Buccaneers at Hard Rock Stadium on August 9th. Despite it only being the preseason, quarterback Ryan Tannehill says he is good to go for Thursday's contest. However, the Dolphins have not told Tannehill how much they plan to play him. I am excited to get back out there and play some real football, Tannehill said after Saturday's scrimmage. As the spring has gone on and his training camp has gone on, every step is feeling really good as far as getting prepared for the season. That's just the next step as we go, to get hit for the first time. Hopefully not get hit for the first time, but I'll at least have the chance to get hit for the first time. And if you saw the interview with him that I added to my video, after Saturday's scrimmage, he talked about that then, and obviously he was joking, laughing, having a good time with it. So he doesn't want to get hit, obviously, but he's glad to be back to playing football and he's excited for it. The last time Tannehill appeared in a game was on December 11th, 2016 against the Cardinals. On that day, Tannehill sprained his ACL as he missed the Dolphins' last 4 games of the 2016 season. Then last year, Tannehill suffered a season-ending ACL injury during a training camp practice. Don't expect Tannehill to play a lot against the Buccaneers. He might play 2 series at the most, as I've said. As the preseason goes along, Tannehill should get more snaps in, especially during the Dolphins' dress rehearsal Week 3 preseason game against the Ravens on August 25th. Yeah, so generally, I'm not an expert by any means on football operations. It's not my job. I'm just a fan. But, I do watch the game. I do, closely follow the team. Rather closely, I guess, as closely as I can. And so I know how generally these things go. So I would expect that in this first game, you're going to see first team offense, first team defense for about probably 1 or 2 series. And then in the next game, I would expect you probably see them for maybe an entire quarter. And then game 3, the so-called dress rehearsal, will probably be about an entire half before, or maybe even a little more before then, the 4th preseason game, they don't even play at all. So, we'll see about that. Let's see. Okay, yeah. So that's that for that article. Moving on. So here's the one from Bleacher Report. Every NFL team's biggest offseason regret. Let's see what they say the Miami Dolphins' biggest offseason regret is. Oh boy. They don't have very much love for us these days. Rather interesting. But, whatever. Not a lot of people, especially in the national media, don't really seem to like us very much. But that's cool. We like that, right? Because we can't wait to prove all the haters wrong. Okay, so here's what they say. Miami Dolphins signing wide receiver Albert Wilson to 3-year, $24 million deal. Albert Wilson signed one of the most surprising deals during free agency thanks to the Dolphins. The fifth-year wideout doesn't have a 50-catch season on his resume and listed as a tertiary option in the Chiefs' passing attack last season. Yet his $8 million average salary tops Jordy Nelson at 7.1, Michael Crabtree at 7, and Allen Hurns at 6. Per Spot Track. The Dolphins have their top 2 wide receiver options in Devontae Parker and Kenny Stills. Danny Amendola and Wilson will likely compete for targets as the third option among the wide receivers. However, there's no justifiable reason to pay $8 million per year for a low-end wideout who could open the season at number 4 on the depth chart. To say the Dolphins overspent on Wilson would go down as an understatement. It's good news for the player, but a terrible signing for the team. Look, man, I'm not going to get into this whole this shit about, first and foremost, I don't have the contract. I don't have the ability to see what it all entails, what it says, so on and so forth. So I don't know, really how bad it is or, whatnot. I don't know. I mean, and the thing is they don't really know. They don't even really know, and they're projecting a lot too. They're saying that it's this terrible signing, but what if he ends up having a really great year for us and doing some great things, having more than 50 catches and getting, look, I don't know. I'm getting all like crazy in my head right now because I just want to go off on this, but I'll just put it behind me. We'll leave it. You heard what they said. I gave it to you, so we'll move on. All right, so here's some stuff. I'm gonna run through some tweets and stuff from today's practice, obviously just kind of highlighting, as I've been doing, things that have been going on. So from Chris Perkins, Tannehill to Stills right, maybe 12 to 15 yards. Offensive line creates nice, comfortable pocket. Tunsil, nice job versus Harris. Chris Perkins fails in completion. Duarte drop appeared. Carroo was first option, but Lippett had him covered well. Jason Leazar, Dolphins have been running some interesting trick plays over the last 2 weeks. The team asks, and reasonably, that media covering practice do not report any specifics on those. I'd hope not. As interesting as it would be, and as fascinating, to bring it to you and let you guys know about what's going on, I'd rather us just wait and see what happens in the preseason and in the regular season. When they come up and we get to see them, we can all cheer and have a good time, be like, oh man, that was really cool, if it works, obviously. If it doesn't work, then we're gonna be like, that sucks. But I'd rather see it then, because I don't want other teams to know that we're gonna do it, so that way when we do it, it will actually fucking have a chance of working. Anyway, I digress. Chris Perkins, defensive tackle, Cameron Malveaux, nice tackle versus Sonoris Perry for maybe 1 yard gain. Barry Jackson, more offensive issues for Dolphins today, already 4 drop passes in first 20 minutes of team drills, and Tannehill overthrow of wide open Stills. Omar Kelly, false start on Vincent Taylor. Armando Salguero, Vincent Taylor offsides. Chris Perkins, D-tackle Taylor offsides. First pre-snap penalty of 11 on 11. They've been good so far. Armando Salguero, disastrous screen. David Phils simply chucks it in the ground. A move Jay Cutler perfected. Chris Perkins, Minka was in slot last few plays with third defense. No passes went his way. FWIW, I don't know what that is. If that means something, he appeared comfortable as opposed to being uncertain. Chris Perkins, Joseph just hit 61-yard field goal from left hash. Nice leg from the youngster. Barry Jackson, Dolphins Greg Joseph just hit a 61-yard field goal. Jason Leazar, Rob Ryan still here, but just chilling per Adam Gase. Let's see. Armando Salguero, Devon Gottschall hasn't locked up D-tackle spot ahead of Jordan Phillips, but he's definitely ahead of Phillips, who was starter at start of camp. Omar Kelly, Josh Sitton created a great hole for Kenyon Drake on the left side. He moved Devon Gottschall out of his gap. Armando Salguero, both Kenyon Drake or Frank Gore have looked good today. #or. That's funny. Omar Kelly, touchdown pass to Durham Smythe off a deflection. Couldn't see the quarterback. Chris Perkins, 11 on 11, 1 versus 1s. Drake short gain middle. Quinn and McDonald on tackle near midfield. Tannehill incompletion. Quill pressure from behind on Tannehill. Drake, nice job blocking McMillan. Omar Kelly, Robert Quinn with a pressure that forces a Ryan Tannehill throwaway. Chris Perkins, Drake draw, Raekwon and Kiko not fooled, maybe 1 yard gain up middle, defense playing smart, not overcommitting, over running tackles, etc. Chris Perkins, cornerbacks now McCain and Howard, Minka and McDonald at safeties. Chris Perkins, Tannehill to gray middle, defense now in nickel, cornerbacks Tank and Howard, T. Hill to Stills for short gain left, maybe 5 to 6 yards, ones off field, now 2 versus 2s. Chris Perkins, Minka and Walt Aikens at second team safeties, cornerbacks Lippett and Tank, defensive tackle Moten getting look. He make flashes and drills against third team. Haven't noticed how he does versus second team. Omar Kelly, Kalen Ballage lowered his shoulder to run through Chase Allen for a first down. Powerful run. Chris Perkins, quarterback Tavez Calhoun defends wide receiver Wilson. Forces fails throwaway and completion. Calhoun also flashes. Interesting player. Joe Shedd, Brock Osweiler was intercepted by Tavez Calhoun. Chris Perkins, right on cue, Calhoun interception in front of wide receiver Francis Owusu. Calhoun had interception and fumble return touchdown one day last week. Keep an eye on him. Yeah, see, man, you know, that's one of the things about this year that gives me a lot of hope and optimism is that I feel like for the first time in quite a while we actually have you know, some really solid depth just overall on the team. It's good. Chris Perkins, 11 on 11, 1v1s, red zone, 10-yard line, Gore at running back, T. Hill and completion going for Parker on sideline versus McTire. Joe Shedd, Ryan Tannehill to Danny Amendola, touchdown in the middle of the end zone. Armando Salguero, Ryan Tannehill, 10-yard touchdown to Danny Amendola. Chris Perkins, T. Hill to Amendola touchdown, but after about 6 seconds, good coverage by secondary. In a game, Tannehill probably would have been flushed from pocket. Omar Kelly, Mike Hull, and Chase Allen have stepped up on special teams, according to Walt Aikens. Omar Kelly, Frank Gore said the number one thing he's trying to accomplish is to gain the respect of his teammates. Excuse me, bear with me for just a moment. Alright, and so Gase did a conference today, a press conference, which I will definitely try and get for you. But so now I have some things that are going to be coming, some quotes and stuff from him and the press conference. Omar Kelly, we have to see how it's going to play out. We like the rotation we have. We have 8 guys we can roll out, Gase on how much Cameron Wake plays. Joe Shad, Adam Gase, we have 8 guys we can rotate in on that defensive line. Joe Shad, Adam Gase says, starting running back depends on personnel grouping. They both deserve to play. Omar Kelly, he's been proving everyone wrong for so many years. I'll never doubt that guy, Adam Gase said about Frank Gore. Joe Shad, Adam Gase says, Mike Gesicki at 5th string, I wouldn't look too deep into this depth chart. Jason Leazer, why did Dolphins coach Adam Gase list Frank Gore or Kenyon Drake as the starter on running back on the media's depth chart? Just to be an asshole, I guess he said. He added, I wouldn't look too much into this depth chart. Barry Jackson, Drake said starting not a big deal to him. Gase said not concerned with Gore. Drake's starting decision will be based on personnel packages. I wouldn't look too deep into the depth chart, Gase said. Armando Salguero, Adam Gase says I wouldn't look too deep. Okay, Joe Shad, Marquise Gray is reacting, not thinking. Knowing what to do is helpful. He's also one of our best special teams players, Adam Gase says. Omar Kelly, that position is one of those positions where we have to look hard at what can and what we can't do. Dolphins coach Adam Gase says on tight ends. Joe Shad, you have to prove yourself every single year, Adam Gase says. Joe Shad, it's important to give everybody their fair shot to move up and work against the ones. For example, Durham Smythe, said Adam Gase. Joe Shad, Adam Gase says Jakeem Grant will have some type of role in this offense. Omar Kelly, he's going to have some kind of role. He did a lot of good stuff. Adam Gase on Jakeem Grant. Omar Kelly, that's what this league is about. It's all about consistency, Adam Gase said about his approach. Omar Kelly, the first group is pretty good. When we go to some of these different protections, everyone has to be on the same page. We have to make sure everyone's assignment is correct. Adam Gase on O-line. Omar Kelly, the chemistry is coming along. We just have to make sure it's getting tighter. Adam Gase on O-line. Joe Shad. Guys who get too caught up on looking at the depth chart and counting numbers in their room fail, says Adam Gase. Omar Kelly, top performers at Dolphins day 10. So it is day 10. 1. Tavez Calhoun, interception on Osweiler's bad throw. 2. Kenyon Drake, 30-yard touchdown run. 3. Josh Sitton, best runs are to the left side. Joe Shad, guys who get too caught up. I read that one already. Let's see. Here, let's check out NFL Spin Zone's breakdown of the Miami Dolphins' first depth chart. Let's see what they got to say. With the preseason set to kick off on Thursday for the Miami Dolphins, the team has dropped their first official depth chart. Obviously, fans are extremely excited about this as it is just one more step towards our Week 1 kickoff. So, of course, we feel the need to overanalyze and meticulously pick this depth chart apart because it's what we do. The key to this is understanding what is relevant and what's not. On the team's first depth chart, veterans will be given the respect they've earned, while rookies will be put on notice that they have to earn their spot on the team regardless of how silly it seems. It's just something coaches do to make a point to the young kids, no matter how empty it seems to anybody with common sense. I'm sorry, though. I got to actually stop there because that doesn't make any sense, what they just said. How does that go against common sense? I'm sorry. Think about that. Okay. The veterans who have been around a while and who've done this shit before, they've earned their respect already, and so they're given it. They get their respect, they've earned it, as he said, and the rookies who haven't done shit need to prove it and need to earn it. So why does that not make sense? I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, there are a few things I noticed with this depth chart that I find quite telling and interesting, and a few things I'm just completely writing off as useless. We will break down both the offensive and defensive depth chart separately while going position by position. I'm not doing a full breakdown of the special teams unit. The only thing of note is that Jakeem Grant looks to be the front runner for all returning jobs, and Sonoris Perry has a real shot to earn a roster spot if he performs well in special teams as a returner and perhaps in coverage. Alright, so let's see what they have to say about the offense. Quarterbacks: Ryan Tannehill, David Fales, or Brock Osweiler, and Bryce Petty. This isn't much of a surprise. We already knew Tannehill was locked in as the team starter, and nothing aside from a major injury is going to change that. The team clearly intentionally placed an or between Fales and Osweiler to express that there is no current distinction between the two. They are leaving this an open competition between the mediocre backups. The fact that they went out of their way to point out that those two are battling for the backup job is a pretty clear indication that Bryce Petty is well behind them and is a long shot to make the 53-man roster. I will agree with that. I do think Bryce Petty is a long shot to make the roster. I don't think they really made it a point to say, I don't think they put the ors in there to make it a point to say, really anything specific. It's other than, it's basically just reiterating the things they've already said. And Gase obviously said in his press conference, which you'll see for yourself, don't read too deep into this. But obviously this article is doing just that, so let's continue just to hear what they say. Running backs: Kenyon Drake or Frank Gore, Sonoris Perry, Kalen Ballage, Brandon Ratcliffe, Gregory Howell. There's that or again. Gore has shined at training camp, as most people that have followed him throughout his career assumed he would. Still, Drake will ultimately win this job, but this is the coaching staff showing respect to a well-deserving veteran. Exactly. So what the fuck is the problem? I don't understand. Anyway, at least they made it seem like it was a problem. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into what they're saying. I don't know. Who knows? The fact still remains that the 13-year vet is now 35 years old and not going to handle close to the workload Drake will. I fully expect Ballage to win the third spot at running back, but they're going to make the rookie work for it in symbolic sense. Perry does have a shot to make the team on special teams, as I mentioned earlier, but the other guys are just camp bodies. Pretty much. Alright, wide receivers. Wide receiver: Devontae Parker, Jakeem Grant, Leonte Carroo, Francis Owusu. Slot: Danny Amendola, Isaiah Ford, Drew Morgan, Other wide receiver spot, Kenny Stills, Albert Wilson, Rashawn Scott, Malcolm Lewis. No real surprises here if you've been following training camp. The biggest question with this group is where does Wilson fit in after getting a significant contract in free agency this offseason. He's kind of a slot guy that they want to use outside. Nonetheless, they are going to get him in games and he's going to make plays. Hopefully Parker can stay healthy, but if his history is an indicator, his health may help clear up this question sooner rather than later. The bright red flag should be flying for Carroo. Isaiah Ford and Rashawn Scott have been great in camp, and Carroo has continued his trend of disappointment. The once promising prospect that the Dolphins traded up to get in the third round likely won't make the 53-man roster. While the team lacks a true stud top receiver, they have a ton of talent and depth at wideout. Okay, I agree with that. I don't really have any problem with that. Excuse me. Tight ends, Marquise Gray, A.J. Derby, Gavin Escobar, Thomas Duarte, Mike Gesicki, and Durham Smythe. You can just throw this whole section out. We all know Gesicki and Smythe aren't the 5th and 6th string, so if you remove those two and assume they'll be making the roster, then you can look at the rest of the chart. Duarte won't be making the 53-man roster, so you can have Gray, Derby, and Escobar battling for roster spots. Maybe even just one. Gray and Derby seem to be fairly even at camp thus far, so this is a position worth watching this preseason. I think if it's going to end up being a choice between Gray and Derby, I think they're going to end up keeping Gray, personally, but I think they'll both be on the team. Offensive line, left tackle, Laramie Tunsil, Zach Stirrup, Eric Smith, and Rubens Joseph. That's what his first name was. Left guard, Josh Sitton, Ted Larson, Connor Hilland. Center, Daniel Kilgore, Jake Brendel, Mike Matthews. Right guard, Jesse Davis, Isaac Asiata. Right tackle, Jawan James, Sam Young, Davis Steinmetz. This is a position you can read into. No position relies more on continuity more than the offensive line, not even quarterbacks and receivers. Coaches like to keep these guys working together as a unit, so what you see here is more than likely legitimate. What can confirm this is who they have blocking for Tannehill on Thursday when he is expected to take the field. There are no surprises with the starters or most of the backups here. The only thing that really stands out to me is Stirrup as the primary backup to Tunsil. Yeah, I mean, I don't really have any disagreements there. And I thought the same thing. But, I mean, that obviously the coaching staff, has a reason for doing that. So, they probably saw some things from the kid, and, so they're giving him a shot. Defensive line, D-end, Cam Wake, Will Hayes, Andre Branch, Jonathan Woodard. D-tackle 1, Jordan Phillips or Devon Godshaw and Gabe Wright. D-tackle 2, Akeem Spence, Benson Taylor, Jemias Pittman, and Anthony Moten. D-end 2, Robert Quinn, Charles Harris, Cameron Malveaux, Claudia Mathau, and Quincy Redmond. The thing that just sticks out like a sore thumb here is Branch listed as 3rd string behind Hayes, which likely makes him the 5th man in the rotation at defensive end, just a year removed from a big contract. This is not good for him, and he needs to make improvements quick. Everything else is as expected. This line will be a steady rotation of players, similar to what we've seen in Seattle the past few years. The most intriguing battle is Phillips and Godshaw. I'm sure one of them couldn't bump Spence. Yeah, I mean, I don't really have a issue with that. The Branch thing was kind of the biggest surprise for me as well. But we'll see. I mean, we'll see. I guess it really wasn't even that big of a surprise, to be honest. But that was the thing, I guess, that stuck out to me the most as well. Otherwise, I agree with what they say. Linebackers, Kiko Alonso, Jerome Baker, Mike Hull, Kason Collins. Raekwon McMillan, Chase Allen, Quentin Poling, Stephon Anthony, Terrence Garvin, and Frank Ginda. The real battle here seems to be Anthony versus Allen, even if it isn't listed that way. We already know Raekwon and Kiko are locked into their spots. It will be fun to see how Baker or if Baker fits in this defense, but he will likely remain in his current spot all preseason and into the regular season. Mike Cole will be looking to make the team again as a special teams ace after a few not so impressive starts last year, and the rookie polling will be interesting to track up to week 1. Cornerbacks, Xavier Howard, Torrey McTyer, Tony Lippett, Tavez Calhoun, Jonathan Alston, Bobby McCain, Cordray Tankersley, Jalen Davis, and Cornell Armstrong. This isn't indicative of much because we all know McCain is a slot corner. While he is guaranteed more playing time than anyone here aside from Howard at this point. He will not be the other guy on the outside. That battle is between McTyer, Lippett, and Tankersley. Right now it looks like McTyer may be getting out from behind Howard and be playing opposite in week 1. However, it's still a little bit early for that, and things can change quickly. This is the premier battle to watch throughout the preseason, though. Yeah, I mean, definitely. I thought that was the one thing. Well, obviously McTyer has been doing great this preseason. He's been really stepping up and stuff like that, so he's getting his shots. That is going to be a battle to definitely keep an eye on. And they listed McCain as a starting, but they only had 2 cornerback spots, so that was based off of base packaging, you know, and that doesn't include the nickel and the dime and stuff like that. So anyway, safety: Rashad Jones, Maury Smith, Jordan Lucas, and Trey Elston. TJ McDonald, Micah Fitzpatrick, and Walt Aikens. It's going to be very interesting to see what the Dolphins do with McDonald. I believe, like most, that Fitzpatrick will ultimately be a starter, but how does this shake out? There is just a ton of talent here. Fitz could serve as a nickel or dime corner at times and slide McDonald in at safety. The idea of slotting McDonald in at linebacker has also been floated out there. There has been a lot of talk of a 3-safety system as well. I can't wait to see how this trio is utilized. Super interesting, and it's definitely a good question, and you know, we're gonna have to wait and see. I think that they're gonna have a lot of crazy exotic packages, especially the more that the year goes on and stuff like that. So we'll see, man. It's very interesting. I am curious as well to find out how exactly they plan to use those 3 guys, and there is a ton of talent at safety, so I mean, it's a good problem to have. Can't really complain. Alright, so real quick, last thing I got for you is an article from Dolphins.com by Alan Poupar. It's the Camp Insider, 13 observations from Monday's practice. 1. Dolphins practiced in shoulder pads Monday. Tight end A.J. Derby returned to practice after missing last week because of a foot injury, although he did not participate in team drills. Wide receiver Isaiah Ford's shoulder was back at practice, although he was wearing a red jersey. Defensive end William Hayes, hamstring, and offensive lineman Jake Brendel, calf, were the only 2 players to sit out practice. Second-year player Torrey McTyer lined up at cornerback with the first-team defense opposite Xavier Howard. Defensive end Andre Branch broke through the line of scrimmage to meet the running back in the backfield on a running play. Defensive tackle Jordan Phillips got a sack against Brock Osweiler. Rookie free agent Greg Joseph handled the kicking duties Monday. He was 7 for 7 on field goal attempts with a long of 61. Cornerback Bobby McCain had a nice pass breakup on a slant intended for Albert Wilson. Danny Amendola, Drew Morgan, Albert Wilson, Kenyon Drake, and Jakeem Grant were used as punt returners and special teams drills. Rookie tight end Durham Smythe caught a 4-yard touchdown in a goal line drill after grabbing a deflected pass. Defensive end Robert Quinn got in the vicinity of Ryan Tannehill in a team drill for what might have been a sack in a game situation. Cornerback Tavez Calhoun stepped in front of a receiver to intercept a pass in team drills. Tannehill threw a 10-yard touchdown pass to Amendola, firing a strike down the middle. So, there you have it. That is everything that I got for right now. Let's see. Actually, correction. No, never mind. Okay. Yeah, so that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed the show, as always. I am noticing, I apologize, I'm trying to work on my lighting and stuff. I can see it's a little bit dark. I got a little bit of a shadow on my face. I apologize for that, guys. I'm working on some things here to improve my production quality, the show quality. As always, I'm always working on that to make it bigger, better for you guys, so bear with me on that. But having said that, that is the end of the show for today, and I definitely do hope that you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please subscribe, post it, send it to your friends, share it with people, hit the like button, and definitely leave comments and questions. I will answer any questions if you have them, and definitely, we can start conversations. I'd like to know your opinions on things, see how you guys feel about the team, about these position battles, so on and so forth. So we got our first game, guys, in a couple days. Preseason, Game 1 against Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Thursday. So let's get excited. And with that, I hope you enjoy the interview with Gase, and I will see you again soon. Fins up.
Frank, when you are in your first training camp with a different team, what are the things you're trying to get accomplished first? Is it kind of personality off the field or stuff on the field?
I want to get my respect from my teammates. I want to come out here every day, give my coaches and my teammates 110, go out here and compete, have fun, and when it's game time, go out here and show them who I am, and try to do everything right, go out there and play hard each game. So that's my main thing.
Are you aware of, I guess, eyes on you, for lack of a better term, younger backs, younger players, Kenyon or on either side of the ball?
I feel like they should. I've been blessed 14 years at my position, and especially the things I've been through in my career, especially coming out of college. Been doubted, having 2 ACLs, 2 shoulders, and people say I won't be here. I won't be more than 3 years, and I'm been blessed to play going on my 14th year. And now I want to go out here and be successful, have fun, do what it'll take with my team, and try to get some wins out here.
Frank, you played a ton of games, but to walk out there Thursday, at home in Miami, have you thought about, is it going to be a little different, man?
Yeah, it will. I'm home, man. I'm home. I've been born and raised here since Part 1, high school now, college, now NFL, man. And I want to be successful this year. I want to do some great things for, my city, and for my team. And I want to show guys when they get up in age, if you love the game and you go out and work hard, it shouldn't matter what age you is. And that's what my goal to do this year.
Do you think you're going to play like 5 more years, or do you go into a season kind of thinking this might be it?
I take it 1 year at a time, 1 day at a time. Every day I come out here and go out treat it like it can be my last, and that's why I try my best to go play hard, 1 year at a time. And at the end of the year, if I feel good, if the Dolphins want me back, I'll come back. But it's all on how I feel. But I just take it 1 year at a time, 1 day at a time.
Was there ever a season where you were going into it and you thought this might be it? This might be no?
Never.
Aside from the physical aspects of it, is there anything, maybe the mental side of the game, or your vision, your studying, that you would say has gotten you to year 14?
I think my vision, the love, and the way I train. You got to train, man, especially when you get older. When you get older, you got to pay attention to the small details, and that's the main thing I try to do.
Frank, does hanging around the long snapper John Denny, does that make you feel young?
He's 14 too, right?
He is going to be 40 in December.
Wow, no, I didn't know that.
Oh, you got to give him a hard time about that.
I didn't know that. No, I did. He do work hard, though. This whole season, he worked very, very, very hard. But I didn't know he was be 40.
How do you feel out there?
I feel great. I feel good. My injury is 100%, and like I said, I'm ready to go out there and make plays.
Do you ever remember being in a wide receiver room that feels this crowded?
No, not at all. I like it though. It definitely humbles you, and it tests you as a man. You go out there and you finally have some competition, and I remember being the guy at Rutgers, and now I got to work my way up to that level. So it definitely tests your mental and your physical toughness, and to just go out there and continue to work hard and make plays.
Did you feel you were playing catch up a little bit when camp started?
Yeah, especially with my injury, I feel like the biggest thing was getting my legs back underneath me. Missing all of OTAs, I kind of missed the feeling of what it was like to compete, for footballs and go against another DB in front of you. This offseason I just worked on, just getting healthy, and I forgot what it was like to kind of play 11-on-11 football. So I feel like I'm finally up to speed now, and I'm ready to go out there and make plays.
One guy can do it, one guy can stay, nobody else can.
Adam, ideally, from a defensive perspective, if you have 2 high-end pass rushers at opposite sides as ends, obviously speaking of Quinn and Wake, how much should it help Cam's here in terms of how much blocking he sees volume?
I mean, I don't know what the percentages will be. I mean, we got to see how it's all going to play out. We like our rotation that we have. There's I mean, legitimately 8 guys that we could roll in and out. It's just all going to be depending on inactives and how that's going to work out. But, you know, he's a good run defender. I mean, it's not that we want him to be off the field versus a run either. You know, I mean, we need to do a good job of making sure that we balance this thing out. It's like we want to find that fine line of we don't want 70 plays a game, or we don't get caught like we did in 16 when all of a sudden it was 15 plays a game.
With starting running back?
Depends what personnel grouping I'm in to start the game. Both going to play. Could be on the field at the same time. I don't know. I'm not worried about it. It's not something I'm losing sleep over.
That said, what went into the decision to list it as an award?
Just be an asshole.
Cool.
Yeah. I mean, both those guys, they both deserve to be on the field. And it's just, I mean, every game is different, you know. I like what both those guys bring to the table, and they work well together.
Have you been surprised at all with what you've seen out of Gore, or is it pretty much what you expected when he came in?
I'm not surprised. I mean, he's just been proving everybody wrong for so many years. You just never doubt that guy.
Having Gesicki listed as fifth string tight end, that just, you know, rookies having to earn their way, that's probably the order you're probably going to play them.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I mean, we go with the 3 wide receivers. I mean, I wouldn't look too deep into this depth chart. You know, I mean, when with him, it's really, we got 2 different sets of tight ends. We got guys that are kind of, we call our Ys, and then a group that's the Fs. So, I mean, they're really like split in half. You only can put so many positions on there. So, I mean, I wouldn't look too much into the tight end thing.
What has kept John Denny around for so long?
The guy's in unbelievable physical condition. I think he is the ultimate pro. He knows how to work with other guys. I mean, and it's been a short period of time, but over the last 3 years, everybody that we've ever brought in from, if they're not with us during the season, they're just here in the spring, he does such a good job of helping those guys learn how to be professionals. Like, he takes a lot of pride in make sure, like you never hear about our guys being like quirky or different or anything. As far as our kickers and punters, it's everybody kind of falls in line, and he does a good job of leading those guys and showing them the ropes and how to do things.
Adam, what's going to be the approach with Raekwon McMillan in preseason games? Does he get as many snaps as other starters, or do you think he might need a little bit more work?
We'll have those discussions here in the next few days. I mean, we kind of started throwing some ideas around, but we haven't put anything in. You know, nothing's in Sharpie yet.
With Marquise Gray, he's kind of been the one guy that's been consistently working with the starters when he's been healthy. What have you seen from him in year 3 in your system and year week 3 of training camp?
Well, I think mentally he's right where he wants to be, because it's more of he's reacting and not thinking. And when you first get thrown in at that position, there's a lot of things going on because you're involved in so much. You're working with different guys all the time, tackles, another tight end. You know, a receiver might have to come down. You're doing something, then you're doing pass protection, the routes. I mean, you have to be sharp. You know, you have to be able to pick things up. And I think the longer you're in one spot, it helps you as that type of player. And he's at that point in this offense to where he knows what to do. And now he's able to work on, okay, what's my technique? Physically, he's very strong. You know, he can move very well. So he's able to play 2 different positions for us, there's a lot of value there. And then him being one of our best special teams player, it brings that even, like right now with him as a starter, we're probably going to lose a little bit on special teams because he's going to play more snaps at tight end.
With that position, I mean, your base formation is 2 tight ends. How important is it to have an inline guy?
It just depends what you're doing. I think we're mixing things up quite a bit, so we're trying to still get a feel for, okay, what are we going to pare it down to? I mean, we're doing a lot of different things right now just to keep throwing stuff at guys, keep them studying, keep them engaged. You don't want guys, you know, being like, oh, we did the same thing again, you know, get bored with it, you know. So keep throwing things at them, and then once the season hits, we'll be able to pare it down and say, all right, here's our bread and butter. This is going to be our second-tier runs. And we always want to put as many guys as we can in the best position possible. And that position's one of those positions we have to look hard at to say, what can and can't we do?
Adam, at what point in the preseason do you, in your own mind, narrow it down and say, okay, it's this guy and this guy against each other for this last spot at this position?
The last week. I mean, it can go all the way to the wire. You know, that's the competition part of it. That's why you want guys to just keep competing every day. You know, you never want to have a guy feel relaxed and, hey, I got it. You don't want that mindset. Most guys don't have that mindset in this league, but you just keep competing every day. I mean, that's why every year we say the same thing. Like, nobody cares what you did last year. You know, nobody cares about how many years you've been in the league. It's a fresh start, and you got to go prove it all over again.
How much of what you do this time of the year with the depth chart, with reps, with taking guys in and out, has to do with managing entitlement and motivating and stuff like that?
I think we're trying to make sure we get the guys that don't know or that are new as many reps as possible, whether it be a rookie or a free agent that we brought in. And at the same time, you know, we're trying to give guys opportunities to win jobs or compete for jobs. I mean, it's a fine line, you know, with, you know, the tight end position is a good one to look at. We've been moving those guys all around, and, you know, when Durham's going with the threes and then all of a sudden the next period he's going with the ones, you know, we know he needs to get used to going against Cam and Robert and William Hayes and Brant. We need him to understand, like, it's going to be a little bit different when you start going against some of these guys that, you know, either emphasize the pass rush or a good run defender. But at the same time, you don't want to just have 6 plays where it's like it's a hard lesson to learn. So you want him to have success. You want him to go, you know, kind of work his way up to that point. And it's tough to manage sometimes because, you know, it's not always going to be perfect, but you're just trying to do the best job you can and make sure that everybody's kind of getting their shot.
And you have a lot of depth, obviously, at receiver. Did the body of work of what you saw from the team last December and in the offseason and now make you think we have to get him on the field some, or is that not clear in your mind because you have so much depth?
I mean, we'll just kind of see how it plays out. I mean, he's going to have some kind of role. I mean, he did a lot of good stuff, and, you know, I'm a big fan of more receivers, the better.
Adam, Leonte Carroo, number 40, is a guy who seems to be around the ball a lot, 2 interceptions and the fumble return in practice recently. Have you noticed him more for the big plays or as much for his fundamentals?
You know, when these guys are competing, you know, after that first group, I think those kind of plays stand out because you notice it right at that moment. But that's where you have those personnel meetings and you sit down and you talk to the position coach and you talk to the coordinator. We get in the personnel department in there, and a lot of times you'll see something like that. At least in the past, I'm just going off of, hey, this guy's made some of these flash plays. Well, he needs to get better at these 3 things because those could be detriment down the road. You know, you're not always looking exactly at the outcome. You're going, all right, what's the big picture? What's, you know, I know favorite word, you know, what's the process going to be? And that's really what we have to focus on. We can't just get caught up in, hey, we saw a couple of flash plays here. It's the consistency, because that's what this league's about. It's all about consistency.
Adam, going back to the whole issue of starting, not starting, and all of that, do you think we make too much of it? Or
Yeah.
the coaches? And what about the average player? Does the average player care much about it?
None of them start. Whoever's on kickoff starts. Nobody says that, though. They should just put the kickoff and kickoff return team on the front of the game book.
Adam, there was, I think a week ago today, offensive line had a tough day. I remember you seemed agitated afterward. Has the line play improved your first group? Since then, where's your mindset?
It wasn't the first group, but we made a mistake on one of the sacks. The defense did a really good job on the first third down of they had everybody covered, and you know, we just talked about when that happens, we just got to roll. You know, Ryan, love to see him just run, get down, get the first, and we're good to go. You know, the first group's been pretty good. We just got, sometimes when we go with some of these, you know, different protections, everybody's got to be on the same page. You know, we can't have any miscues there. You know, with that, with what you see pressure-wise on third down, different fronts, you know, we have to be really good at making sure everybody's assignment is correct. And when we get that locked down, we feel good about the talent we have and what those guys are able to do. And really, it's that chemistry. I feel like it's coming along well. It's just we just have to tighten it up just a little more.
What does he like about Rashawn Scott? What's it going to take for, I know that receiver room is just one of those guys, for him to like.
Well, I brought this up last week. He doesn't look around. He's not worried about anybody else but himself. And I've always appreciated that about him since he's been here, and he's a competitor. Right when you think he's, he'll be back against the wall, and he finds a way to fight himself into the mix. And he's doing the same thing again. He's making big plays. He's not making mistakes. He's doing a really good job on special teams. He knows how to get to that level where all of a sudden now everybody's kind of talking about him, and now it's going to come down to, all right, how are we going to play in the preseason games?
How tough is that, do you think, for young players to block out the depth chart, the 53?
Guys will fail because of that. They get so hung up on counting what's going on. It's a long time from the starting training camp to the preseason games. And there's so much that can happen. I mean, we went through it last year when you lose some guys and all of a sudden the next guy's got to step up. That's why we focus on we have to get better, worry about doing your job the right way, because all of a sudden your number's called. You better know what to do because now there's your shot.
You mentioned Rashad and how he can kind of block and fight through all that. Is that rare or is that common, or where would you?
I'd say it's closer to rare than common. I think the guys that you want to try to find as many of those guys as you can, because you have to talk to guys sometimes and hey, this is a starting point. It doesn't mean anything about the last day. So that has to be our point of emphasis.
How many conversations like that have you had the last 3 weeks?
None. These guys don't. They just work. This group, it's fun to coach these guys. It's meetings on the field. These guys don't complain. They just put their head down and they grind.
All right, thanks.